Hello everybody, welcome to Short Shot Archery. Anthony here, and in this video we're going to be checking out the K2v2 stabilizer from Ramrods Archery. This is the replacement for the original K2, so it is the K2v2. It's an intermediate stabilizer, and I'm going to give you my review of it and my experience with this product. Before we get started, I want to let you know that I was not paid for in any way, to review this product or change my opinions on this product. My experience and my opinions are my own, and so far the experience has been really good with this rod. We're going to start off with just the look of this stabilizer system, and then we're going to move into how it, the build of it and the performance of it later on in the video. So first off, the overall look is really simple and clean. I really like it. The black and gold and white kind of all play off each other really well. It's also great that they let you know all the different things going on with this stabilizer, such as the high modulus carbon, the Recurve dampening technology, the outer diameter of this stabilizer, which is 0.56, and I think that's pretty cool, especially for an intermediate stabilizer. Usually just slap a little logo on it and call it a day. This actually has a premium high-end stabilizer look, and I really like that. So looks and all are great, but how does this stabilizer actually feel? Does it feel well made? I personally think so. The end caps on this stabilizer are made out of aluminum, which is nice and solid. No flimsy plastic, no just cheap plastic. Nice solid aluminum, which again is good. You don't have to worry about them getting all messed up. And at the same point in time, it's aluminum. It's still pretty light, so you're not adding a lot of weight in areas of the stabilizer you don't want to add weight in. The rest of the stabilizer itself feels really light, but surprisingly solid, and I think it has to do with the diameter of the stabilizer, along with that Recurve dampening that's inside the stabilizer. I think it just makes it feel really solid, but at the same point in time, surprisingly light. You would think it would weigh more for how sturdy and strong it actually feels. So it's quite deceptive, but really cool, because it should be really well made then, just by the feel of it. To me, it actually feels more along the lines of a high-end stabilizer in terms of build quality than it does the cheaper stabilizers. Not all cheap stabilizers are bad, but you can usually see where they're cutting corners. It doesn't seem like it's in just how this is constructed. It feels really good, which I'm really happy with, because you should be getting a really good value for your money out of this stabilizer setup from the K2v2. So now for the characteristics of this stabilizer. It's designed for both recurve and compound, so you don't have to worry about it only being for one. If you want to switch it between two different types of bows, it'll work great for each. Ramrods actually takes the time to break down their recommendations on weight on the rod and the change in the feel of the stabilizer based on the weight that you're running. So Ramrod says, without any dampeners or anything attached to this rod, if you just slap weights on it, it's going to feel really crisp with 1 to 3 ounces on the end, which makes sense, and it definitely feels crisper because it's leaving your stabilizer rods really stiff. Then, if you go from about 4 to 16 ounces, that seems like it's supposed to be the kind of like the sweet spot, that ideal feel. For me, that makes sense, because I'm running about 4 ounces or so, a little bit more up front, and I'm running about the same, a little bit less out the back. So it makes sense that it feels so good for me. Of course, you have a lot of room to play with. 4 to 16 ounces is a lot of weight, so you can kind of find out which one works best for you. And then, of course, if you want to go to 16 ounces plus, this rod is going to feel a lot softer because you have a lot more weight out the end, and you're breaking down the spine of the stabilizer. Yes, a spine just like an arrow has a spine. The more weight you stick out front there, you break down that spine. Now, the spine on this K2v2 is 122. So, pretty solid. Ramrods is the only company, as far as I know, that actually tells you their spine. It'll be interesting to see if other companies follow suit, but I really like that because if you purchase the K2v2 and you find that it works really good, but then you decide you want more weight on it and you don't like how it's reacting anymore, you can look at Ramrod's list of spines and you can go and choose to buy another Ramrods product that has a heavier spine if you want to run more weight. Or, maybe you feel that, it works great running 6 ounces on the front, but I don't like how thick it is. Even though, honestly, it's not that thick, but maybe I want an even thinner rod. You can go and look to see if Ramrods offers a thinner rod with a comparable or smaller spine. Trying to get more leverage in the wind, where the wind's not affecting your stabilizers as much because you're running a smaller front rod, things like that. It's just allowing you to play with it a lot more. Now, as a note, for measuring like weight on the sides, because your side rods are so much smaller than your front rod, you probably have to run double the weight to really change the overall feel of the side rods. And that makes sense because they're a lot shorter of a rod, so they're automatically going to be a lot stiffer. So my overall thoughts is it honestly feels like a higher end stabilizer without the high end price. So is it going to perform as well as some of the best stabilizers on the market? Maybe, maybe not. I personally would be plenty confident of shooting this stabilizer setup in a tournament. So I think that does say something. If it wasn't good, I definitely would not recommend that. On top of that, though, the cool thing about this being more affordable, but having that high-end feel where it's well built and it seems to perform really good, and I like just the overall feel of it, is you can kind of play a game with mixing and matching between maybe the K2v2 here and the Vector, which is the higher end, or one of the higher end stabilizers from Ramrods. So you could get the Vector front rod, and then you could just match it up with the K2v2 side rods, because side rods, they're already so stiff, so unless you run a ton of weight, you could get away with saving maybe some money on the side rods and then going with the more expensive, higher end front rod. Or you could just go for the full K2v2 setup and save money overall. But if you really want to try to, get the highest end setup you can, you could mix and match this one with some of the higher end Ramrods stabilizers to try to push your dollar to a higher limit, and get the most bang for your buck. So other than that, there's not too much else to say except that I've been really happy with these. I'm definitely considering shooting them for tournaments, just like I said a minute ago. Other than that, definitely check out Ramrod's website, see what they have to say about them. Check out their other stabilizers as well, and see, maybe you want to mix and match. Maybe there's another one that you're more interested in, or now that you know kind of like the specs of the K2v2, maybe you want a rod that's even stiffer. Now that Ramrods has rod stiffnesses, and you can figure out which rod is better for you, especially if you're a compound shooter that's running 16 plus ounces, then you may want to go for a stiffer stabilizer in order to support that weight, to keep it within that ideal feel of the rod, unless you want a softer or crisper feel to your shot because of the the effects of the stabilizer. Completely up to you, and I think that's really cool that you have that option available. So with that, thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and as always, happy shooting. So my overall
The
thoughts.
amount of times like, somebody's gonna make a meme out of this.
What?
Because you're constantly just stroking the thing. So my overall thoughts. Oh, this is Rod. Just count how many when you're editing. There's a lot.
The stroke. It's nice. It's nice to stroke. So my overall thoughts is it's really nice to stroke, and that really weighs in on
my purchase.
Yeah, why I would recommend buying one of these. Yeah, it just is what it is. It has a nice finish.